Okay guys, I'm back. While I'm waiting on my hair to process with the color, I need to redo some nails that I do an acrylic dip system. Now I don't have an actual system that you buy and you use 7 different products because that's not necessary. Um, the dip system that I do is with gel nails. I use a clear gel strengthener. I'm going to show you this brand. It's gelish that you can get at Sally's, and this is a nail conditioner, so I'm going to use that as the base layer, and then I use the number 2 that I've got marked on here, and that's the gelish base. That's my second coat, and I dip into an acrylic powder every time I put a coat of clear polish on. And then when I get done, and I'll build it up. So what I'll do is I'll do this base layer in the, what is this called? Vita Gel, and it's a nail strengthener. But it's something that you do have to use an LED or UV lamp, and you can get them pretty inexpensively. I was gifted this by a friend because she didn't use it anymore, and it is the Gelish brand lamp, and it's an LED. I have a friend that was concerned about getting UV rays every time she put her nail in, and it's not a UV lamp, it's an LED lamp. Some UV lamps take twice as long. So I prefer the LED type, and that's really easy. It goes for 45 seconds each time you cure. So every time you use a polish, then you have to go in and cure it in order for it to harden and dry. There's molecules in there that have to form in order for it to harden. So it's not like regular polish if you haven't used a gel polish before. But the first thing you do is you have to prep your nails, and I've pretty much done that. You use a file, and you this is not the file I use. This is just one that came in a little kit, but something similar to this, an emery board. That you want to get a professional emery board, not an old orange kind of emery board. You want to get a professional emery board, and you go in and you take off any of the shininess that's on your nail. Basically, you're trying to get all the shininess and oils, and then you go in with, you can use a dehydrator, but alcohol is a dehydrator, so I just use alcohol with a paper towel because paper towels have no lint, and you don't want any lint in there. So I'll buff it, and then I'll wash it, and then I buff it with the emery board. You don't want to use a real harsh emery board, real coarse one. You just want to go in there lightly and file off any shine, and then you dehydrate the nail with alcohol and with a paper towel, okay? And then I go in and use a no acid primer, and this is ASP All Season Pro, I think is the name of it. ASP. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. And that's an acidless primer. And I put on 2 coats because I do have problems with lifting. So it's really simple. Again, I'm keeping my nails short right now because I have some computer work that I have to do. So right now see, look what I'm doing. I just missed one of these nails. Still has some shiny on it because it has still some of the old product. Part of the old product's still there, so I want to get that off. So I'm just going to file that just like this because I have my other file over there and I don't want to have to stop the video again. So just use this, get the shine off. A little bit on that one too. That's basically what shine I'm taking off now is not from the oils on my natural nail because I still have some product. It's just the fill-in that I'm doing on a couple nails, and a couple I don't have any product on at all. So this is the top coat. And I'm just roughing up that top coat surface because I want the new product to be able to stick. Hey Anna, I'm on YouTube. You want me to? Thank you. Do you want me to pause it? That was my roommate Anna. She was just bringing me my package that came today. Okay, so I've done that. I've wiped it off with alcohol. And then I'm going to I didn't put acid on this hand yet. I mean, not acid, the no acid primer. So I'm going to do that. And basically, the primer goes on your natural nail. So if you've still got other product from when you've done your nail before, and you're just filling in, you don't have to put that all over the nail. You just put it on the natural nail. Now, I do this twice. So I'm going to go back on this hand. And this is a little bitty, teensy little brush. And so you don't put it on your skin. You just put it on the natural nail. And it's real quick. It's not like polish, because it just goes in there and dries pretty automatically. Okay, so that's done. And now I have something called Alpha 9 Natural Powder. It's a big old bottle, and it's really finely milled acrylic, which I like. It's an acrylic powder. Just like if you went to the nail salon and you got acrylic nails and they use the brush and they dip it in that stinky stuff, that's called monomer. And then they dip the monomer in the powder, and that's what makes the acrylic nail. And it takes a few minutes for it to cure and harden. Well, this is a little bit different. And this is a little bit different than the way they do the dip nails, because that's with the resin that is what attaches the, when you dip it in the powder. Resin is basically just a brush on glue. That's all it is. Well, this is a little bit different. This is a gel nail system. It's just I'm using I'm going to show you when I put it on. I like to keep my nail down this way instead of this way, because if I do it down, if I do it like this on myself, or if I do it like this on myself, but if I'm holding it up and trying to do it, that product can flood the cuticle. And if it floods the cuticle, and with gel nail, you want to put on a really, really fine layer. If it floods the cuticle, once you dip it in that powder, you've got a mess that is all pulled up in the cuticle, and then once it cures, it's just awful. So I hold my nails down. And I do it differently when I'm doing a full nail. Right now, for this purpose, because I'm just doing a quick tutorial, I'm just going to show you. I just put the polish, the clear Vita, what do I call it again? Whatever, the nail strengthener, but it's the gel product that you have to cure. I put that on, I put it in the powder, shake it off, and I just kind of dip it a couple times because my nails are, it starts to dry off really quick. So I've got it on, and now that gel under there is absorbing the powder, and I'm just going to lightly brush off any excess. And then here is my lamp. I'm going to turn my lamp on, and I put my nails in my lamp. I'm just holding this up so you can see, because I don't have an overhead camera, but I'm just holding my nails in here, and it's going to cure for 45 seconds. And then I'll do that on the other hand. Then I go back and I use the number 2, which is the base coat, because that makes it a little bit thicker. And I'll dip that in. So that's what I'll do next. And then the final step is the top coat. And all these you have to cure in the lamp each time. So it takes about the same amount of time, I would say. But I like this better because this is a softer product. It's not as hard as acrylic nails, but it does keep your nails really strong so they don't chip. Okay, so that was done. That was quick. And I don't load the brush up so it's dripping. I don't want it dripping. Because you don't want that much on there. So I'm going to, again, hold my nail down. Now there are ways of going in there and putting this on to build the apex and the curve of the nail, to put that natural curve in there. I'm not doing it this time because I already have some product on most of these nails. And this is just a really quick tutorial to show you how it's done, how it can be done with this method, okay? So just going in there, dipping a couple times, kind of shake off the excess, I dip it, okay? So that's what it looks like, those 3 nails. And then I'm just gonna kind of brush it off. Let's see, do I have? No, that looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in here and cure it. And it doesn't burn or anything. Sometimes when you do use gel nails and you use a lamp, you can get heat spikes, and that's just from the molecules that are reforming and curing. So what you do is, if it starts to feel hot, you take it out immediately, and then you just kind of put it back in slowly. Like, I'm not all the way in, and then I'll go in a little bit more, and then I'll go in a little bit more, and then the molecules are pretty much done, and by that time you're not burning anymore. I mean, it's still curing, but the heat spikes will stop. Ooh, color. So, just wait a minute. Anyway, that's where we are. That's the end of that first coat. So I'm already done with that. Now I'm going to go in and use the base coat of the Gelish, the foundation. It's the base coat. And it's got a little brush on it too. And again, you don't want it dripping, because anytime you use gel polish or anything that's gel based, you really, really need to use a very thin coat. So if you can see, I'm using a very thin coat, and I'm staying away from the cuticle and the side walls. I don't want to flood any of that. I do want the product to be on the nail, but I don't want something on that brush. I'm going to brush that off real quick. I don't want that product to be in the cuticle or in the sidewall on the skin. I just want it on the nail. So put it back up here for you to see. Kind of hard to do it this way. I did the top a little bit. Nope. I see I missed a spot, so I'll go back. Okay, so thin coats, dip. Okay. Brush it just to make sure, because when you brush it, you're not disturbing what you've already put on there, because the gel has already soaked up the powder. You're just brushing away any excess. So you can brush right over it. It doesn't bother it. So again, I'm going to put it right back in its little lamp, and we're going to let that sit. So that's how we do it, step by step. And then we'll go through, and I'll be editing this video so it's not so long, but we'll go through, and that's how it's done. It's really simple. You know, as I'm sitting here looking, and I keep talking to myself in the viewfinder, so it looks like I'm looking off to the side from you. I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at myself talking instead of straight into that little bitty hole that's the camera on my phone. So if I'm looking, looks like I'm looking off to the side, I'm really just looking at myself in the phone. As I'm looking at myself in the phone, I'm noticing this big bulge right here that you guys might be able to notice. And it's not fat. It's muscle. You see that? All that. I'm a grinder. So I'm going to go on and do these nails. I grind and clench so bad when I sleep that it causes me to have migraines. Which I have migraines because of I've had 4 concussions, so I get migraines anyway. First concussion, 15 years old on a bicycle. Was riding someone else's bike in the neighborhood, and he didn't tell me that only the front brakes worked. And if you're old enough to remember how the old 10-speeds were, they had curved handles in the front. So when I put those brakes on, and there were no back brakes, and I was going down a hill, guess what? I flipped right over those handlebars, and I landed on the sidewalk, and I skidded down on my face. And I scraped all the skin off my face. I had a swollen shut eye. And when I woke up in the emergency room, not knowing where I was, or I'm going to add a little bit more to this nail because the top of the old product is off, and I need to build that up. When I woke up in the emergency room, I thought I was my sister, and I thought I was still in junior high school. And when I asked to go to the bathroom, this lady was helping me go to the bathroom, and I thought she was being so mean. And I'm like, what is wrong with her? Why is she being so mean to me? She was my mother. I didn't know her. I did not know who she was. I didn't know who I was, let alone who she was. Yeah, anyway, that was the first accident. I've had 3 more concussions since then. Couple at work. Anyway, people call me Sparky as my nickname because my sister's the one that started it, because she says, Patty, all your spark plugs are working. You've got all 8 cylinders, but sometimes they're missing because I forget things and I forget what I'm saying in the middle of a sentence, and that's okay. That's just who I am. That's who Sparky is. That's what makes me Sparky, is not being able to remember stuff and doing silly things. And that's just part of me. I'm cray-cray. I admit that I'm cray-cray. I'm not crazy, but I'm cray-cray. You know what I mean? Can you see my hair lightening up? Now, usually what happens with my hair is it's going to turn a little too golden, strawberry-ish for my liking. I don't want that. I want it to be a cool tone. So I'll probably have to put a toner on it. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have time. But anyway, I'm on my 3rd coat here of, you know, the first strengthener, the second. So this is really the 3rd coat, but it's the 2nd coat of the foundation or the base. And since I'm not doing all 10 nails, it won't take as long. Probably won't even have time to polish them today. But this is the little pinky, where's my camera? This is the little pinky nail that I have, that I've just got a really light pink polish with a little holographic top coat over it. Can you tell? Can you tell? Well, it's not going to focus apparently, but, and this is my favorite ring. It's a Mystic Topaz, and I wear it every single solitary day. I love it. So let's dip one last time. And I keep a towel under me whenever I work, because there is dust, you know, from the powder. So anyway, so they call me Sparky. And in Florida, for a short amount of time, I ran a Christian coffee house, and everybody called me Sparky. Nobody even knew my real name, I don't think. Most of the people, the customers didn't anyway, know my real name. Everybody called me Sparky. And that was fun. Most people here don't even know that, but I'm Sparky because I'm missing. My spark plugs are missing, and I can't remember everything. That's what happens when you get name damage like I've got. Yeah, when you have concussions and head injuries, it's not just from the concussions, but head traumas become cumulative when you've had more than one, and the older you get, the more problems you start having. And so since I had my first head trauma at 15, and I've had 3 since then, I've had more things come up, like transposing numbers. I don't transpose letters as much, but every once in a while I'll transpose a letter. Mostly it's just transposing numbers. Or if I try to call a number and I keep calling the wrong number. Do you know how frustrating that is? I'm like, or somebody will tell me. So I remember one day somebody was telling me a number to write down, and I was writing it down, and he was watching me, and I was not writing it down what he told me, and he said, that's not what I just said. And I said, I know, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just transposing. I'm just mixing up the numbers. Takes me a few times. I'll get it eventually. Brush them off. Cure them in the lamp. So I'm Sparky. And that's okay. I don't let it get to me, really. It's just who I am. It just makes me part of me. Makes me my unique little self. When I was at the coffee house, I got to tell you guys, now that's something I'll tell you at some point, how much fun that was. All the different things that we got to do. We had 2 Bible study rooms, so we had churches that had private personal Bible studies, so they would come in and use our place instead of their church. And because we were a Christian coffee house, we had soup, salad, sandwiches, stuff like that. So we had a kitchen. So we had youth groups that met with us. Met there. They met, the youth groups, the youth groups met at the coffee house. We had a stage and a PA system and all that. So we had bands that would come in and play, and you know, the young people loved that. So they would do their youth group thing, or sometimes we'd just have concerts where bands would come in and play. That was a lot of fun. A couple of nights, the place was so crowded. I'm surprised the fire marshal didn't shut us down, honestly, because we were packed. Way over capacity, I'm sure. Well, we had a good time there, and I have some amazing stories. I'm doing this off camera. You already know the drill. I'm putting on the final top coat. I put the top coat on again in a thin layer, and I'm careful with it because I don't want it to get on the skin, because I don't want there to be product on the skin. I've done it. I mean, product will flood down there and get flood in the cuticle or flood on the sidewalls of your nail, and yeah, that's a lot of fun. Now with this system, when you go in and do the final filing or buffing, it's easy because this is a softer product, using it with the gel. If you use it with the resin, the acrylic powder with the resin or the brush-on glue, it's a lot harder. It's very similar to when you do it with the monomer and just have full acrylic nails. These are acrylic nails. It's just a dip process. It's just a different process. But people say, I don't have acrylics, I have SNS. And I'm like, that is an acrylic. It's just a different way of putting them on. It's just a different process of putting them on. Instead of monomer, you're using resin. For me, instead of using resin, which I have done, but I'm using the gel product, and I like it better because it's softer. And it's more natural to me. Now, it's done. I cured it. I don't have to wait for it to dry. The top coat's on there, and it looks like it's done and can be polished. Yeah, it's pretty close. This one is really smooth. This one just feels a little bit bumpy, so I can take a thing and a very light of the files and kind of brush that off, or just use a buffer and just kind of buff that down a little bit. But it's got a little bit of curve in it. Because I still had my older product, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to have a little curve, because my nails are ski jump nails. They jump up. You can't really tell because I've got product on here, so it makes it look like it's curved. My nails aren't curved down, they're curved up. Don't like that. And they fan out. I have fan nails. Some people have more nails that fan out worse than others. Mine aren't real bad, but they don't grow straight. They grow like that. And I don't think, to me, a fanned look is not pretty. I don't like it. And in order to keep my natural nails from looking fanned out, I have to file the sides. But when you file the sides, that's where the strength of your nail comes from. And when you start filing the sides, that makes the nail weaker, much weaker. So I'm going to cure that. And then what you do is, they say there's a tacky layer. I don't feel a real tacky layer on here, but I always, anytime you use a gel nail with a top coat, you always have to go back over the top coat with alcohol or a gel cleanser, because you want to get that tacky layer or that dispersion layer off of there before you put any polish on. Now, I could use a gel polish and continue to cure in the lamp. It's not going to hurt me at all, but I don't want to use a gel polish today. I'm going to use what I had on the other fingers. It's just oh, I forgot one nail. Duh. See? Sparky in action. I'm always trying to one-up myself to surprise Dean, so I'm going to try and push my creative boundaries with tonight's Chinese New Year themed dinner. So I just want to use that little pink polish that I've got, that I had on the other nails. I like it. I don't really like... Now, I've got a friend, Kelly, that uses darker polishes on her short nails, and it looks good on her. To me, it's just a personal preference. I like it on her, but I don't like it on me. I feel uncomfortable. So if my nails are short, if I don't have any kind of nail enhancements on, then I just do what I'm doing and use the light colors. I always use a dark color. Like, I've got a beautiful, like, sapphire blue on my toenails. I love it. It took me a long time to start wearing color on my nails. A lot of people I've seen have like a dark brown or black and all those different colors. Well, that's not for me. I can't do that. Now that I do it, I love it. When my nails are long, but they're not long right now. Someday. And I can show you how I do that too. I apply tips. So that's done. They're done. They're shiny. But I'm going to get that dispersion layer off by just using a paper towel. Again, the reason I use paper towels instead of cotton balls is because there's no lint in the paper towels. And I don't want there to be lint because I want to put that little polish on there. I'm going to see how they feel. That one's bumpy. That one I didn't do so good on. So I am going to have to take the file to it. And again, just so I don't have to stop the video and start again, I'm just going to take that file, get that little bumpy thing off.
I was frustrated that Captain had to call over the radio for service. That's why I came back up and it was fine.
There are different filing techniques, guys. When you're doing your natural nail, there's certain ways you're supposed to file your nails and certain ways you are not supposed to file your nails. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people think taking files, remember the old metal files? That's okay to your nails. Those are terrible on your nails. And I learned that back in the early 80s when I was in school. But that's something that we can cover. I'm doing this on the top of the nail because I've got the product on there, so it's not hurting my natural nail at all. And I'm not filing the edges, the free edge at all. I'm just getting anything that feels tacky off. Or not tacky, but bumpy. Yep, so that feels really good. Nope, it doesn't. And I'm picky. Watch me do my tongue. I gotta do my tongue. I'm stick my tongue out. Look like a little kid with my fat face. Okay, yeah, so that's done. Now I don't need to put another top layer on. I didn't go through the whole top layer. I just got those little bumps off, so it didn't take the top layer off. So I'll wipe that off. It should be just about time for me to do my hair. So now you can see that my nails are done, but I need to go back and put the polish on with the holographic top coat so that they all match. And you'll see, it's gonna look the same all over. It's easy. See if I can show you one close up. No, I'm not flipping you off. But there it is, close up. Now I don't have any cuticle oil or anything on. There. They're done. It's that simple. I mean, it doesn't take that long. Sit and watch TV and do it. It's easy. And I'm sorry, I forgot. My TV sound is on, and I turned it down earlier, and I forgot and turned it back up. So I really apologize if that's distracting. I'll try to do better. Okay, so I've got to get in the shower, and I'll see you in a little bit.